What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Deontay Wilder states this. He says, I want to get back to the big fights, giving fans what they want to see. The former heavyweight world champion and boxing superstar Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, previewed his long-awaited return to the ring in an all-out new episode of the Pivot podcast as the celebrated knockout artist promised fan-friendly action in his pay-per-view showdown against Robert Helenius this Saturday, October 15th, at the Barclays Center. He said, I give it all 110%, said Wilder. I tell people that I only have 3 years left. I want to dedicate to the business. I want to get back to the big fights and to giving the fans what they want to see, and that's me risking my life for others' entertainment. I'm doing it for the people this time. I'm not just about my family anymore. It's about everyone who I've motivated, inspired, encouraged all over this world to this day. Let me counterpunch. If Wilder gives you, and here's the thing, if Wilder gives you that type of excitement that he gave us October 9th, yesterday, a year ago, people will want to see him again and again, but at what cost? Okay, keep that in mind. Yeah, you're doing it for everybody else. That's a selfless act. I get it. You're doing it for the people you motivated. You're doing it more than yourself. It's a beautiful concept. But then again, you have 9 kids. Let's be real. So if he does take a beating, I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying the type of mentality that Wilder has is dangerous for anybody with that type of mindset. That's the type of mindset that people go in the ring with and don't get out of the ring with. They get carried out. And that's what you're supposed to have. That's the discipline of boxing. Mayweather kind of watered it down with certain fights that he didn't want to fight, whereas Wilder now is seeming to be this person that does. However, this wasn't always Wilder. So when he said, I want to go back to the big fights, well, he hasn't had too many. I don't look at Dominic Breazeale as a big fight. In fact, it was a made-up mandatory. And I say made-up mandatory because Dominic Breazeale didn't supposed to be there anyway. Dillian Whyte was. Dillian Whyte would have been a bigger name, but at the end of the day, it was a mandatory. That's something that you have to do. But other than that, you had Luis King Kong Ortiz twice. Then you had Tyson Fury 3 times. Well, I know a fight's a fight, but it's like you don't have that many other big fights like you want to go back to. I'm like, well, you only had 2. And the whole thing from 2000, let's say 15, 16, 17, okay, those 3 years, Wilder, I want to let people know, Wilder was ridiculed for the opposition, for the people that he fought, and people really didn't take him seriously because I honestly think, this is my opinion, that Wilder wasn't managed right. He was managed by someone that loved him versus someone that wanted to motivate him, that believed in him. There is a difference. You can cater anybody to your degree of how you care and feel about that person. Like I believe Shelly Finkel did, but I don't believe Shelly Finkel put him in a situation for him to come up like the other 2 guys did, like those other 2 abnormally big, tall motherfuckers, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. See, those guys had their shot. Tyson got the Klitschko fight. Joshua got the Klitschko fight a year and a half later. Where the hell was Wilder's opportunity? He didn't have one. Why? Because of his manager. Because of his manager. Okay? And to set the record straight, his manager stopped that fight from happening. I was told personally that it wasn't a choice of his. He wanted to fight Vladimir, but couldn't get the fight. He couldn't get it. And him being called a baby by Shelly Finkel is no different from Bob Arum saying that Terrence Crawford owes him money. I look at Shelly Finkel and Bob Arum in that regards to their talent or their fighters and in the same boat because they both degraded their fighters by him calling them a baby of a champion, and for Bob Arum degrading Terrence Crawford, saying he doesn't sell and I'm losing money off of him. Okay, so I didn't really like that whole idea anyhow. But to say I'm going back to the big fights, it's like, well, shit, you act like you've been fighting since you fought the biggest fight of your career from the only guy that beat you, Tyson Fury. So him saying I'm getting back to the big fights, I guess you had a big fight. Now you're having another fight. Well, how big is a Helenius fight actually, though? Is that a huge fight? And I would say it's a decent fight, not a huge one. You want a huge one, fight Joshua. You want a huge one, I guess you could call Andy Ruiz one because he's going to bring something to the table. He's a former champion just like himself. Sure. But that's pretty much it. Fight Usyk. I think that's probably the best one, besides a redo that we've seen from Tyson Fury. So it's only so many fighters really left, that he could get in the ring with. You could throw Charles Martin in there, but, Charles, I don't even think, I walk this earth like a god wants to get in there with him. He never really called out Wilder. Right? So I think he always kind of had some kind of fear of Wilder, to be honest with you. So I don't think it would be him. But Deontay Wilder saying that he's wanting to get back to the fight, show the fans what he wants to see. He hasn't failed us thus far. So hopefully this weekend we will be in for a spectacular night of boxing. You guys tell me what you think of Deontay wanting to get back to the big fights. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!